A few weeks ago, Chris Rosser sent me over this, his new AOS bind and fly from Iflight. This is his new AOS5 version 2 frame combined with his personal choice of Iflight components to put together what Chris says is one of the best flying 5-inch quads that you can get today. In this video, I'm going to walk you through its features, share with you some of my thoughts on how it flies, and give you an idea if you should consider buying this or not. Now, just to be clear up front, Chris stroke Iflight did send me this drone for free. However, they have not paid me to make this video. Chris or Iflight has not seen this video before it's been published. And as always, my thoughts are entirely my own. Anyway, let's get on with it. Let's take a closer look at what this is all about first of all. And then at the end, I will share with you my thoughts. The AOS5 bind and fly from Iflight is based on the AOS5 version 2 frame by Chris Rosser. This frame features a unique arm geometry that delivers maximum strength and stiffness for minimum additional weight. The build features the Zing 2207 motors with 5mm titanium shafts, the Blitz Mini F7 flight controller, which is a 20x20 flight controller that uses the BMI 270 gyro, has 16 meg of onboard flash, I2C, 6 UARTs, and also has a built-in barrow. It also uses the Blitz Mini 55 amp ESC, which is paired with that Blitz Mini flight controller. The build I have here is the digital version, which comes with the DJI digital FPV system installed as standard, with a Vista in the back and the Nebula Pro camera up front. The model I've got here doesn't have a separate receiver, and as such it's using that built-in receiver capability of the DJI FPV Air unit, and you will need to use the DJI Black FPV remote. A nice feature of the AOS version 2 is the protection it offers your camera. There are 2 solid carbon fiber plates that slot into the main frame that act as the camera mount, but they also offer a protection area for the camera in the event of a crash. Because this is a bind and fly model as well, Iflight have fitted it with various TPU pieces. We have a GoPro mount up front, as well as armor motor protection mounts on each end, and there's protection for the cables installed as standard too. Now, just before we look at some footage from the air and share some thoughts about how it flies, I just want to show you the setup I've got. I've added on this rubber sticky pad, which they include in the box. This just helps hold the LiPo in place. I'm going to be flying this with 1100 milliamp hour CNHL blacks. These are obviously 6S packs, and that's what I'm going to be using in all of my footage. I'm using it with a dual strap setup, so one at the front and one at the back. The back one is going through these little clips under there, or the little grooves or cuts in the frame, I should say. And that's going to help keep the pack in place. And I've connected up the Caddx walnut camera up front, and I'm going to be using that for this flight footage. Overall, really, the build is really nice on this quad. I got no complaints at all. What's really noticeable is just how well it's packaged together, in the sense of the Vista held in place at the back, the flight controller down there, just the way that they've clipped all the cables in place. I really have zero complaints about how well the drone is put together. I think they've done a great job of the packaging on this, and everything just looks like it grew there, including with that little capacitor is underneath that just sits there. It's just like it was designed to be there from the get-go. What we're going to do next is do a bit of flight footage. I'm going to just give you some thoughts on how the aircraft feels in flight. Then I'll share a bit of footage, and then I'll come back to the studio. Okay, so I'm recording this audio on my phone, which is hanging from my neck. You're probably going to hear some noise because my strap is next to it as well. However, it is what it is. So what we're going to do is do our first flight and see how it goes. So let's head him out and just see how it feels. Now, one of the big selling points that Mr. Rosser always pushes with his frames is just how well they perform. So what we want to do is see what the tuning is like, see what the prop wash is like, and just see how it feels overall. Now, I have to say, initially, everything feels good. Nice and smooth. Just do a nice roll over there. Keeping a bit of height a minute. I don't want to risk anything catching me out. Something I will add is that the throttle feels nice, and considering these are stock settings, there is, yeah, absolutely fine. No reason to feel any problems. Let's come on. The rates feel nice. They're quite soft. They're not very harsh. If we just spin around, yeah, they're definitely cinematic rates. So they're definitely not racing rates. But they're certainly nothing I'm particularly concerned about. Actually, they feel about right for me. See what it flips like in a flip. Yeah, okay, not too bad. Bit slow, but I get used to that. I have mine a little bit sharper than that out the box. Ooh, caught me out there. Ran out of skill once again. Just, yeah, absolutely fine. No concerns at all. Have to say, it feels good. Oh, I've just dropped down below the horizon there. I am at an area where it does drop down. Let's just see how it feels. What's it like hanging? Oh, hangs nicely. That's fine. Overall, I have to say, this flies very, very well. Rates definitely want a bit more for me. But the prop wash is good. Hangs nicely, floats well. Don't want to go too low there because I am going to fall off the horizon. Let's push it forward. Yeah, prop wash is minimal, a little bit, but nothing. Absolutely fine. I have to say, I think this aircraft flies very, very well indeed. Now, the DVR you're seeing here is obviously the DVR off the DJI Digital FPV system. As I've said, the aircraft is fitted with the Cadex Vista as standard. I'll just take a bit of a spin that way. We won't go too far. Obviously, I do have someone with me. Just down there, in fact, keeping an eye on things. But I am also using the DJI remote here, which is something I'm not used to using. It's been a little bit of a while on that. See what it's like in the slows. So let's take him down here in the gentles. Push it through here. That's all looking nice. That all looks fine. Go the other side of the hedge. Yeah, signal is whinging at me. That's fine. It's really nice, really nice. Come through there, over the gate, and there I am. Yeah, overall, I have to say, this aircraft feels really nice. Really, really nice. I think Chris has got a great tune on this. I really do. Now, I've been flying the AOS5 for a few weeks. I've flown it in various different situations, whether it be just a bit cinematic like this, or I've been pushing it a bit harder in my local fields. And I'll be honest, this drone has put up with everything I have thrown at it. I have tried to find fault with this quad, and frankly, I can't. I'll be honest, this drone is one of my favourite quads that I own right now. And that is simply because of the fact that it flies so well. It just does everything I need a 5-inch quad to do, and it does that quickly and easily out of the box. I have crashed it many, many times, including some of the ones you'll see in the little bit of footage I've got here. Yet there's been no damage. I've had stones in the motors. I've had it in mud, and it's just got up, broken prop here and there, but it's absolutely carried on as it has before. Now, I don't pretend to be the best pilot in the world, and it is well known that I am far from the most skilled. However, I do know how a quad should fly, and I have to say, this is pretty close to being perfect for me. Now, just before I jump back to the studio, I just want to talk a bit about how the drone is held up through the punishment I've put it through. I am not a bando pilot. However, it has been into sand, grit, mud, and anything else I've managed to crash it into a few trees as well. And it's fine. I did end up having to take, I think it was that motor bell off yesterday because I did get grit in the motor, but I swept it out. It's absolutely fine again. This morning, in fact, I dropped it about 5 foot onto this main bottom plate accidentally when I disarmed it and not realised that there was a stone below. I thought I was a bit lower than I was and I misjudged it, and it actually landed straight on that there, bounced off and ended up upside down. And you can probably see that there is a mark there in the carbon fibre, but again, it's fine. There's no permanent damage. None of the arms have broke. And whilst I'm not saying it is unbreakable, because no frame is, it does hold up very well. And the TPU protectors on the corner do a good job of actually protecting the edges of the frame too. You'll see I've lost a motor screw there. That's one of the screws I took out at the beach to get some of the grit out of that motor, and I dropped the screw and couldn't find it, so I need to put another one in there. But overall, the frame is held up absolutely fine. Now, there are a few things I just want to mention when using this that you should be aware of. It is recommended that you dual strap this, and Chris has put slots in the back for the second strap, which is under there, which I'll show in a minute. But you do need to be a bit careful of the length of the strap because the props are quite close on this side there. If you look, I've got a hoop in the strap there, and the reason for that is if I actually put the strap all the way down on the side, the prop can actually catch it. So what I've ended up doing is actually looping the strap a little bit there just to stop that. So you do want to be careful that the included straps are a little bit long for the back one. The front one though is absolutely fine, goes over there, no problem at all. You can then see here we have the battery input from the quad, and I have it that way, and what I've been doing is just tucking that in there. It can be a little bit tight with the camera up front, but it's not too bad. And as I did say in the review part, you do have that protection around the front camera, and that's given me no problems at all. You'll notice that this isn't the original antenna. The reason for that is I actually broke it. My fault, no one else's. That was in one of the crashes. Nothing to do with the drone itself, but I've ended up putting on the link antenna, which came with one of my other ear units. It's not that the original antenna isn't strong, it just got a pretty hard hit, and I ended up damaging the casing. Overall, there really is no complaints. The drone just keeps ticking along. Obviously, you're going to do stuff like damage motors as time goes on, but as a start in FPV, or if you want to get yourself an FPV quad that is made from high quality parts, this is going to definitely be well worth a look. Okay, so to share with you my overall thoughts and just touch on a few other things before I wrap this video up. Now, price-wise, this drone is just under $500. I think it's about $495 on the Iflight website. But do remember, whilst that sounds a lot, you are getting the Vista and the Nebula Pro digital system for DJI built in with it. As I have said in the video, it doesn't use a separate receiver, but there are UARTs free. So if you did want to put Express LRS on it, and in fact, that is what I will be doing. That crash video you saw where I sort of lost pixelation of video, that was because I actually had an RC failsafe, which resulted in the quad falling behind the hedge, and then I lost it completely. However, you can run it with the DJI remote as well if you already have it. I'm going to be putting Express LRS on myself. Really, about the only niggle I can give you on this quad is that rear strap where I mentioned you've got to just be careful of the length. Everything else on this drone, for me, is just perfect. There are no props in view on the main camera. It flies extremely well. It is quite soft out the box, but you can up the rates, and Chris has said to try pushing it further. It's not something I've done yet. I'm not a bando pilot. I'm not someone who needs the most sharpest quad, but I do like it a little bit sharper than it comes. But it is perfect for cinematic flying out of the box. It has tons of power, and it's just tuned very well indeed. If you're looking to get yourself a bind and fly, whilst I haven't flown that many bind and flies, I can say for me, I think this is one of the nicest and best flying quads I've put my hands on for a while. I love it. Frankly, it is my favorite quad right now, and it has been my go-to quad that I've been flying for the last 2 weeks. I'll be honest, from a DJI point of view, there's nothing more I want from it. I'm really actually tempted to build another 2 of these, one with the avatar system and one with HD0, just because I like it so much. I really cannot say any more than that on this. I will say, as I did say at the start, that Iflight did send me this for free, as did Chris, and Chris is someone I class as a bit of a friend in FPV, but I promise you, if I had a problem with this quad, I would be telling you about it. I am not going to say it's good if it isn't, and really I'd love to be able to say some really bad things about it just to make the video a bit more balanced, but the reality is I've just got no reason to do so. It's just that good for me. If you are interested in getting one, there is a link to it in the description on the Iflight website. A massive thank you to Chris for sending this over. You're not having it back, mate, even if you want it back. Tough, it's staying, I love it. You're going to have to try and pry it out of my dead hands before you're going to be taking it off me. Anyway, that's it from me on this one. Please do let me know what you think. If you have any questions, I will try and answer them in the comment section as well. I'll also put a link to Chris's website where you can also get the frame itself. You can order the frames now from Iflight, but you can order them from some other vendors as well. And it is really great to see the work that Chris is doing with his frames. It's not just the AOS5, he's got a whole range of frames available as well. So please do check them out. And really, honestly, they are really some of the best that I've put my hands on for some time. Anyway, that's it from me. Stay safe. I will speak to you soon.